Hello, welcome back. My name is Forrest and welcome to this pretty messy video. I had a bit of struggle making this, so it was a little delayed, but I was able to sit down and get it done, and I really hope that you all enjoy the first of the TempestClan character spotlights with Wavehollow and TrailingStar. I wanted to start with getting a better sense of Wavehollow's expressions, and I've been trying to improve my shapes and designs to differentiate all these silly little cats a bit more. So to give context to some of the sketches on screen right now, when Wavehollow was still a kit in the nursery, he'd always had trouble sleeping, and just would sit up with Lady and watch the stars. She would tell him the stories that she knew, both from clan life and before clan life, and WaveKit was very close to their second mum. I touched a little bit on how tough Nimble Whisker was as a mentor in the Year 2 video, but I didn't get quite in depth. Nimble Whisker was a very harsh mentor and was pulling from her own experience when she was an apprentice being trained by a very harsh and cruel mentor. And Wavepaw worried his siblings a lot with all the wounds he came back from battle training with, but he brushed their worries off, convincing them that he and Nimble Whisker just went a little more intensely than his siblings' mentors did, and he would never let Oddspeckle or Lady find out. The result of his training left him pretty closed off from his clan, including his siblings. His focus was simply on being a good warrior for TempestClan, and in a way, being abducted helped Wavehollow confront what he went through, and his friendship with TrailingStar, it helped both of them open up. And speaking of TrailingStar, their appearance may be a bit of a surprise, as they are in fact a bobcat. They were born with a condition known as swimmer's syndrome, which essentially means their hind legs splayed out instead of staying tucked under their body, and as a result they were abandoned. They were taken in by wildlife rehabilitators who helped them overcome their condition and released them onto a preserve. TrailingStar left the preserve eventually and felt a calling to travel and learn about the world, though they had to learn the hard way that not all two-legs were kind like the ones who helped them, and not all cats were kind to cats as large and dangerous looking as them. It left them wary to get close to others and gave them the persistent fear of being abandoned again. Some of you might be a bit curious as to why a bobcat wouldn't just attack a feral cat, and I would say to that TrailingStar was raised by a foster mom who was just a normal cat, and that is why they speak the same language as well. They came about based on the status I got when Wavehollow returned, which was saying goodbye to the friends made on their journey was hard, but Wavehollow knew the clan was where they belonged. And quite frankly, I just really like bobcats. I think they're a fascinating species, and along with lynx. And there's also some historical documented cases of kittens that were born with a domestic parent and a bobcat parent. So I just thought that was really cool. So meeting the bobcat was quite the shock to Wavehollow, who, like most, assumed that they would be a cat like him. After overcoming his surprise, though, his drive to get home struck a chord in the bobcat, and they agreed to help guide Wavehollow home. The trek wasn't easy in the slightest. The summer months brought oppressive heat, and fierce storms with equally fierce rains made it hard to see your own paws in front of you. Having to seek shelter in hollow logs or caves often, and having nothing to do to pass the time except talk, both cats started to reach out to each other more, and a close bond developed quickly between the two. And in part, that played into Wavehollow's decision to travel more slowly, along with his increasingly strong curiosity for how other groups of cats live, which turned a 2-month journey into a 5-month quest. The two learned a lot from each other during this time, like how TrailingStar never liked the water, and being stuck with a fish cat was less than ideal. They may have just been a bit upset though that they hadn't taken to fishing very quickly, and Wavehollow's prowess in it left their pride a little bit wounded. In exchange for the fishing lessons, TrailingStar taught Wavehollow a bit about the herbal remedies and physical treatment they knew about, which the warrior was quite surprised to learn that they knew. TrailingStar told him about the time they spent growing up under the care of Two Legs and with their foster mother, and it led to them telling him how they had been found abandoned as a kitten due to their disability. This led to Wavehollow opening up in turn about Nimblewhisker's training and realizing that a small part of him was scared to go back to the same clan she lived in, and that both because of their amazing company and this fear, he thinks that's why he's been delaying returning. It was a very tough conversation for both of them, but Wavehollow felt a bit braver after it, and the two friends comforted each other. Parting was always going to be bittersweet. TrailingStar knew that Wavehollow's place was among his family, and they never liked to stay around too many cats for too long, despite Wavehollow's insistence that they'd be an amazing warrior, even if they can't fish to save their life, of course. He knew the yearning to explore now, though, and would never want to make them feel trapped. As the pair inched closer and closer to the sea cliffs that TempestClan called home, they found themselves dragging their paws more and more. Wavehollow was overjoyed to be home, but he knew that returning to his clan would mean leaving TrailingStar. Saying goodbye to Wavehollow was harder than TrailingStar thought it would be, whose anxieties about being left behind and abandoned always were playing in the back of their mind. For the first time, they felt as if there was someone in the world who wanted them around, not out of a sense of obligation, but because he saw who they were with all of their flaws and insecurities bared, and still said, yes, this one. the warrior had grown much too perceptive for his own good and assured them that in this life they would meet again. And with TrailingStar's nomadic tendencies, they knew this path, the one that would lead their paws to Wavehollow again, would be the one the winds would guide them on for seasons to come. So that's a little bit about these two and their long trek home. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for giving it a chance and checking it out. I really appreciate all of the support and comments I've been getting. It's a bit overwhelming, but I read all of them, even if I don't have the time to respond, and I appreciate them all so much. I have definitely teared up at a couple of them, but I wanted to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a nice day. I'll see you later.